today's topic is loop, and basically loops in programming languages are used to repeat a block of code until a specific condition is met. Or in other words, you can say that a programmer uses a loop when he or she want to execute a statement or group of statements multiple times without repetition of code. In C programming language, there are mainly two types of loops in C programming, right? So the two types are entry control loop and exit control loop. So in entry control loops, it means that in entry control loops, the test condition is checked before entering the main body of the loop. For loop and while loop is a kind of entry control loops. And second one is exit control loop. In that, control loops are the test condition is evaluated at the end of the body part, and the loop body will be executed at least once, irrespective of whether the condition is true or false. So for example, you can have do while loop in your list. So we will start with our for loop. So we are going to take an example to create a multiplication table of 10, right? So we'll just start with including our header file, that is include studio.h, right? Then we will create our main function, that is void main, and then we will open the body part, and then we will take a variable named I, and then we will start a for loop that we will just say our loop variable, that is I is equal to 1, and then we'll say I is greater than or less than I is greater than equal to 10, and then we will say I plus plus, that is our end condition. Then we will create our function like for loop part, body part. So basically what happens here, firstly we initialize the loop variable with some value, then the check its test condition. If the statement is true, then control will move to the body part over here, and the body of the loop will be executed. Steps will be repeated till the exit condition, that is I plus plus, or this condition becomes true or false, right? If the test condition will be false, that is I is greater than 10, then it will stop and the pointer will come out of the loop. On the right side of the screen, you can see how the flow of the loop goes. Now we are going to print our thing, that is printf. We will just say 10 into percentage d. You can just say that. Then we will say equal to. Then again we will say percentage d, right? And then at our outside we will say I comma I star 10, right? And we can just say like that, and we can give a space. Okay, so I think it's pretty much done. Then we will run it and see it. So there is kind of error. Okay, so we forgot to put a semicolon over here. Okay, now we will run it, and over here, oh, it's not finding anything. Okay, I think our loop is wrong. We'll just say I is less than equal to 1. Okay, then so here we go. We have our whole multiple of table here. So as you see, I have made a mistake in our condition statement. So be sure what condition you want in your program. So while loop does not depend upon the number of iterations. In the for loop, the number of iterations was previously known to us, but in the while loop, the execution is terminated on the basis of the test condition. So if the test condition will become false, then it will break from the while loop and else body will be executed, right? So I'll just give the example over here, and we have to just change this much only. So here we come in this part, and here we are. So what we are going to do is, first of all, we are going to initialize 1. I is equal to 1. We are going to initialize it outside, and we will say while and our test condition, that is our I is less than equal to 1, and then we are going to open our bracket. In that we are going to print our statement. Let's just let me copy it from over here, because it will be same in every loop. Okay, now we are going to increase our loop. So this was all about while loop. Now you can get a flowchart on the right of your screen. So what we have done here, that is, we have first of all loop, we have started our loop over here, but before that we have to initialize a variable that we are going to use in our loop, then our test condition, and then our increment decrement condition over here. So we'll just run it and see if it is correct or not. Okay, so there is some problem in I plus plus, right? What's that problem? We'll see it. Let's close it. Okay, it's a problem over here. Okay, so there was a problem like, here we have to give a 10 over here, and then we'll save it and run it. So here you can see we have got our whole multiplication table. So this was all about our while loop. So now we are going to talk about exit control loop, that is our do while loop, right? So in do while loop we are going to have a similar like while loop, right? But the only difference lies in the do while loop test condition, which is tested at the end of the body. In the do while loop, the body will execute at least once. That means this will be printed first at least once, right? Irrespective of what the test condition is. So here what we are doing, like, we are going to initialize our variable at first, then we'll start with do and our body, and in our body we will state our logic and increment decrement operators, and then we are going to say our condition statement over here. So at least one time this statement will be printed, and then our condition will be checked, right? So we'll run it and see if it works or not. So here is some kind of error over here. So let's see what kind of error is there. Is less than. Okay, so just save it, and again we will run it, and you can see over here that we have successfully printed our table. So this was all about loop, and you can get a flowchart of a while do while loop on the right of a screen.